We are one human family. Now that's a nice idea, and we see it on inspirational posters, hear it in speeches, sometimes even feel it in the movies. But if we're all one family, it sure seems like it's one big dysfunctional family. Systemic injustices seem intractable. Conflicts rage out of control. So, is human unity just a lofty ideal, a kind of spiritual kumbaya that crumbles the moment it hits the hard walls of reality? Today we're exploring the first and most central principle of the Baha'i Faith, the oneness of humanity. But we're going to look at it in a way you may not have considered before. For Baha'is under the covenant, this oneness is not merely a sentimental feeling or a hopeful aspiration. It's a spiritual and practical reality, and according to the Baha'i writings, it has a single, indispensable foundation. Let's start with the vision itself. Baha'u'llah, the second Christ seated upon the throne of David, revealed these words in the 19th century. The well-being of mankind, its peace and security, are unattainable unless and until its unity is firmly established. This isn't a weak hope, it's a divine promise. But how do we align ourselves with that promise? Baha'u'llah calls on us directly. O contending peoples and kindreds of the earth, set your faces toward unity, and let the radiance of its light shine upon you. Gather ye together, and for the sake of God, resolve to root out whatever is the source of contention amongst you. This is an active, not a passive process. It's about rooting out the old sources of contention and building something new. But here's the critical question. What does it mean to set our faces toward unity? On what basis do we build? Many well-intentioned efforts for unity are based on political alliances, economic partnerships, or shared interests. And while some of these can be valuable, the Baha'i writings suggest that such unity is often shallow and unsustainable. Why? Because without a common spiritual foundation and a common understanding of our purpose, our unity is provisional. It lasts only as long as our interests align. Abdul-Baha, the son of Baha'u'llah, an authorized interpreter of his teachings, explains a deeper, more foundational unity. The unity which produces unlimited results is first a unity which recognizes that all are sheltered beneath the overshadowing glory of the All-Glorious, that all are servants of one God, for all breathe the same atmosphere, live upon the same earth, move beneath the same heavens, receive effulgence from the same sun, and are under the protection of one God. This is a unity based on the fundamental recognition that we all come from the same source, that from the perspective of God, the entire human race is one entity, like the leaves, flowers, and fruits of one tree. But a vision this grand, a mission this complex, requires a spiritual center. If every individual or group is free to interpret these principles according to their own opinions and desires, we would simply end up with another set of competing factions, united in name, but divided in purpose. This is where the concept of the covenant becomes absolutely essential. The covenant is Baha'u'llah's divine blueprint for maintaining unity and preventing schism. This is that protective, overshadowing shelter that Abdul-Baha was referring to. But a critical question arises. How do we know if a person, or institution claiming that divine authority is truly under the covenant. Just because a person claims a lofty spiritual station or an institution claims to be authentic does not mean that that's true. For example, a universal house of justice that lacks the necessary executive and legislative branches outlined in the sacred will and testament is that body in name only. It does not stand under the protective shelter of the Baha'i covenant. It is this precise divine structure that guards against false claims. Abdul-Baha explains the covenant's necessity in preventing this very problem. To ensure unity and agreement, he has entered into a covenant with all the people of the world, so that no one may interpret or explain the religion of God according to his own view or opinion, and thus create a sect founded upon his individual understanding of the divine words. Think of the covenant as the constitution for a global civilization. It establishes a clear line of authority from Baha'u'llah to Abdul-Baha and eventually to the duly constituted Universal House of Justice, the House of the Lord prophesied by Isaiah, with a legislative body elected from the multitude of nations and a chief executive seated upon the ancient throne of David. This isn't a vague spiritual idea. It's a concrete organizational blueprint. This is why Abdul-Baha could make this stunning declaration. It is evident that the axis of the oneness of the world of humanity is the power of the covenant and nothing else. An axis, the central point around which everything else revolves. So, to bring it all together, the Baha'i view of the oneness of humanity is far from a simple feel-good notion. It is a spiritual truth where we are all created from the same divine source. A divine call to action. We must actively work to build a new world. And a verifiable, structured reality. It is founded upon the unshakable foundation of Baha'u'llah's covenant, which provides the enduring guidance and the specific, authentic institutions needed to translate this ideal into a lasting global reality. What are your thoughts on this concept of unity having a foundational covenant? How do you see it applying to the changes of our world today? Share your reflections in the comments below. And if you're interested in exploring more, visit schooloftheland.com. Thank you for watching.